Hey everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Josh and this is your stimulus check update for Monday, June 29th. I hope everyone is off to a great start to their week so far. And I can't believe that June is almost over. This year is just flying by. Anyways, in this video we'll be discussing both the first and second stimulus checks, including what Republican senators are now saying about them. We'll also be discussing the current unemployment situation, the $1,000 EIDL grant, and then I'll be wrapping up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. But first, if you wouldn't mind real quickly liking this video, giving me a big thumbs up, it really just helps with the YouTube algorithm in terms of pushing this video out to other viewers like you and hopefully helping other people like you as well. Additionally, leave a comment in the comment section below letting me know whether or not you received your first stimulus check or not. Believe it or not, there are still millions of people out there who haven't even received their first stimulus payment, even though we're already talking about the second stimulus check. So just know if you haven't yet received it, you're not alone, and let me know in the comment section below if you did receive it or if you did not receive it. Okay, so I'm going to start out this video by discussing the first stimulus check. Now, with the next set of direct deposits set to go out on Wednesday, July 1st, I would strongly encourage those people who haven't yet checked the payment portal within the last week or two to do so. And also let me know in the comment section below if you're also receiving a payment date of July 1st as well. Now, if you go to check the payment portal and you're still getting that message of payment status not available, again, that does not mean that you're ineligible for the payment. It simply means that the IRS has not scheduled a delivery date for you. So what you could try in the meantime is typing your physical street address in all capital letters. Sometimes that can work and sometimes that can help fetch a date. But if you do that and you're still getting payment status not available, no worries, that just means the IRS has not yet scheduled a delivery date and they're going to continue sending out payments on a weekly basis, so you will eventually receive a date. Finally, if you would like, you can always call the IRS EIP hotline. That number is 1-800-919-9835. Just know that whenever you do call them, you probably will be on hold for at least a couple of hours, and the information that you receive from them may be the same information that you can already find through the payment portal, so you may not really learn a whole lot. And remember, as long as you're not being claimed as a dependent on someone else's tax returns, and as long as you don't have something like past due child support that could potentially offset your stimulus payment, you're definitely eligible and you're definitely going to get paid. So in the meantime, hang in there, try not to get too frustrated. You will eventually receive a payment date and you will eventually receive your payment. All right, moving right along to some second stimulus check updates. As mentioned, we are going to be focusing on what some of the Senate Republicans had to say about the possibility of us receiving a second stimulus check. And you may be thinking to yourself, why do we care so much about what these Senate Republicans have to think? Well, the reason is because in order for a second stimulus check to pass, it must be approved by the Senate. And who has the Senate majority right now? Yep, you guessed it, the Republicans. Now, early on, seemingly at least, there was a huge opposition of sending out a second round of stimulus checks. When Louisiana Senator John Kennedy was asked about the possibility of sending out a second round of stimulus checks, he replied, "Well, people in hell want ice water too." Now, a spokesperson for Kennedy later clarified that those comments were actually directed towards another bill that would actually increase the funding for state and local governments, not actually towards a second stimulus check. Senator Kennedy also stated that he was against the HEROES Act that the Democrats passed back in May that would send out additional stimulus payments to the Americans, mostly because there were other things in the bill as well. Not only would it include things such as $200 billion in hazard pay, $175 billion towards renters and homeowners to help make those monthly mortgage payments, continue the $600 federal unemployment boost through January 2021, but it also dealt with things such as immigration. It dealt with federalizing our elections and releasing federal prisoners. There was a whole lot more in the HEROES Act than just short-term economic help and stimulus checks to the American people. Republican Senator John Kennedy and a lot of the other Republican senators just quite frankly didn't feel that comfortable passing a bill that had all that other fluff in there. And I could really see a point there. I've always said each piece of legislation should have its own bill. You shouldn't have direct stimulus payments to the American people in the same exact bill where you're going to be releasing federal prisoners. That is just complete absurdity to me. Wisconsin Republican Senator Ron Johnson also mentioned that he's not in favor of sending out additional stimulus checks. He also mentioned that he wasn't even really a big supporter of the first round of stimulus checks stating that this wasn't really your classic recession. Senator Lindsey Graham also mentioned that he's not a big fan of sending out another round of stimulus payments. Instead, he suggests that we focus more on reopening our economy. He doesn't believe that short-term government checks will have much of an impact on the economy. The problem with that logic, though, at least in my opinion, is that the economy is not yet fixed. And yeah, while we can't continue to send out stimulus checks on an ongoing basis, that can't be like a permanent solution. The government was the one that put us into this mess. They forcibly shut down a lot of our businesses, and a lot of these businesses won't ever be able to come back again. They told us that we could no longer show up to work, they shut us down, and they took our paychecks away from us. Granted, they did give us a $600 federal boost to unemployment, but we could no longer earn our regular paycheck, and our jobs may not be there whenever we go back to our jobs because those small businesses may never come back again. So until the economy gets completely fixed, it's kind of unfair to make statements such as that. Now, recently, Oklahoma Republican Senator Jim Inhofe did make some comments I think you'll all really like. Word for word, Inhofe did say that financial relief for Americans is going to happen, but it's just not going to happen yet. He made these comments after a weekly Senate Republican luncheon where they discussed the possibility of a second round of stimulus checks. Inhofe also mentioned that other Senate Republicans were also on board with a second round of stimulus checks, but at the moment they're just working out the details. He also stated that what you don't want to do is give a reward to those people who simply do not want to work. By that, I believe he's more so discussing the possibility of extending the $600 federal boost to unemployment through the end of the year. Most Senate Republicans have strongly opposed the extension of the $600 per week federal boost in unemployment that's set to end on July 31st, but have instead suggested something as a $450 per week bonus for actually returning to work. They feel that actually having a continuation of the $600 per week federal unemployment boost through the end of the year could actually provide a disincentive to wanting to return to work. After all, 60 to 70% of the people receiving this $600 per week federal boost are actually receiving more unemployed than they were actually working. So you can sort of see the logic behind those comments. But now on the other hand, you're going to have those people who want to return to work. Maybe they want to return to their old job, but maybe their old job is no longer there because it had to shut down during the pandemic, and maybe they could not reopen after the pandemic because they simply ran out of money. So it wouldn't be fair to completely strip away the unemployment boost when people may need that money to actually get by in life. It's simply unfair to say that every single person just doesn't want to work if they can't find a job because maybe their old job is no longer there, and maybe another job they're wanting to find isn't going to pay as much as their old job did. So really, it's just a difficult situation, and there is no perfect system. Whatever the congressmen come up with or fail to come up with is going to have one group of people left upset. So while it is incredibly difficult to make everyone happy, they do have to come up with something now with the federal boost to unemployment set to run out on July 31st. So all in all, I do think the comments made by Inhofe do shine a positive light on this situation. Initially, it seemed that most Senate Republicans were completely opposed to a second stimulus check. However, there is seemingly a big change in that thought process now. Now, the reason for that, I really can't say for sure. It may be the spike in virus cases in the South recently, which may lead to some businesses having to shut back down again. However, in my opinion, it's more so probably Trump's influence on the other Senate Republicans. Trump has already come out and essentially already guaranteed a second stimulus check, and you have to think that he's already been in these senators' ears as well. If he comes out and guarantees a second stimulus check and doesn't come through with that promise, then that doesn't make him look very good at all. And with elections just 4 months away, failing to deliver on a promise like that really doesn't bode that well for him. And that really couldn't help him too much come election time, especially considering he's already been sliding quite a bit in the polls recently. Now, as far as the timing goes for a second stimulus check, we're still looking at some point in late August or early September at earliest. The Senate will be back from their 2-week recess vacation in late July, and they already mentioned they're not even going to discuss the next stimulus bill until they get back from that 2-week recess vacation. And then they'll be going on another vacation on August 10th, so they'll have from late July through early August to come up with a stimulus bill that is bipartisan, meaning that the Democrats also have to be behind it. So if they are able to come up with a bipartisan bill, write that bill and get it passed, and President Trump approves it in some point in early August, then we should start seeing the stimulus checks roll out some point, probably in late August or possibly early September. The good news here is that the second round of stimulus payments should be going out much quicker than the first round of stimulus payments. Since the IRS already has all of our information, we shouldn't even have to mess with the payment portal again. However, this is the IRS we're speaking of, it's the government, so more than likely we probably are going to run into some glitches. I hope not, but you would have to think the second round should be going out much smoother than the first round did. All right, so finally, I just wanted to put out another reminder about the $1,000 EIDL grant. Remember, if you have any type of side hustle, whether that's driving for Uber or maybe selling on eBay part-time, just apply for this grant. It's $1,000, and remember, it is a grant, not a loan, meaning that you do not have to repay the money. It only takes around 5 minutes to fill out the application, and with these funds running up very quickly, I would strongly suggest that you apply today. Do not put it off any longer. And if you have any doubts whatsoever on whether you would be eligible or qualify for this grant, just apply. You have absolutely nothing to lose. The worst thing they can do is just reject your application. The best thing that can happen is that you would actually receive the $1,000 EIDL grant, and it is $1,000 per employee, up to 10 employees. So the most you'd be able to receive is $10,000. The least amount you receive is $1,000. And if you don't have any employees, you would be the employee, so you would receive $1,000. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap up this video by answering some of the comments and questions that I received in my previous video. And if you have any other comments or questions for me, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. I do try to answer as many comments and questions as I possibly can. And those comments and questions that I'm not able to get to, I do try to pick some of the best ones to answer in the next video in video form. All right, so without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the first comment of today's video. That is from Jeffrey. Jeffrey says, "Hello, Josh. I just want to know what we can do about our $500 for our kids. We need that money." All right, thank you so much for that question, Jeffrey. So for each dependent under the age of 17, you were supposed to receive an additional $500 on top of your $1,200 stimulus payment. And unfortunately, the IRS forgot to include a lot of the additional $500 stimulus payouts for dependents. Now, what they're saying right now, unfortunately, is they're not going to send out additional $500 stimulus checks, even though we're deserving of them. What they're saying is that we have to wait until next tax season to claim those credits to receive the $500. So instead of receiving the additional $500 now when we need the money the most, we're gonna have to wait all the way until next year to file our tax returns to receive them, which is incredibly unfair. I hope they change their stance on that, but that is what they are saying right now. All right, so the next comment today is from Rosie. Rosie says, "Hello, do you think we are going to get another $1,200? I need it. I live on Social Security disability and the first check I got came in handy. I'm very sick and I need it. When will we know for sure?" All right, thank you so much for that comment, Rosie. And yes, I do feel very, very strongly that we will receive one more one-time $1,200 stimulus payment. And I think it's going to be sometime either in late August or early September. I do feel very strongly that they're going to get a bipartisan bill that is going to include an additional $1,200 stimulus payment, and you should be included in that. So on that note, I am gonna go ahead and wrap up this video. If you did enjoy the content in this video and you'd like to see more videos like it, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. It is completely free to do so and a great support to me. Also, if you would like to receive one free stock valued all the way up to $500 from Robinhood, feel free to claim that by clicking the link in the description box below. And until next time, I'll see you guys and I hope you have a great day today.